Good evening and welcome to the programme. More than 450 children were arrested in connection with the London riots. The Met Police has revealed that they're amongst a total of 2,124 people questioned about a possible involvement in the disorder. But how and why did so many people get involved in the looting and violence that broke out on the streets of London earlier this month? Well, the government has set up an independent panel to find answers to such questions. Today, the Deputy Prime Minister, Nick Clegg, returned to the streets of Tottenham to announce details of the inquiry, as Aisha Baksh reports.
Tottenham 4 weeks ago. Businesses ruined and communities damaged. Today, the Deputy Prime Minister, Nick Clegg, was in the area to speak to those affected by the riots and to give more details of an independent inquiry set up to look into what happened.
One of the reasons why we need to have this panel, which I've set up, chaired by Dara Singh, is precisely to ask those difficult searching questions and not just rely on instant wisdom and instant judgment in the immediate days and weeks after the events.
The answers to those difficult questions will form part of a report that's to be given to Parliament next March. It falls short of a full public inquiry, but it's promised to be a grassroots investigation.
Might as well just go and do it. Nothing's going to happen to me. I get to prison, I get fed 3 times a day, I get to watch PlayStation, do whatever I want.
All governments that we've had have given most of our rights away.
A youth mentoring group organised this meeting near Woolwich to discuss the riots. They hope the panel will incorporate local initiatives such as this into their national investigation.
It's a great opportunity for people's views, opinions to be heard. Locally is good because not everybody will be able to participate in the national one.
The national panel will be headed by Dara Singh, the former chief executive of Ealing Council. Also asking the questions will be Simon Marquis from the Lambeth Boxing Academy, former barrister Heather Rabatz and Baroness Sherlock from the National Council of One-Parent Families.
A feeling of hopelessness and despair.
Over in Hackney, the London Citizens Alliance have begun their own investigation into what's happened. Their multi-faith group spent today trying to come up with solutions to the problems the riots exposed.
We need unity and we need somebody that we can follow. Something that we can follow. I have my religion.
We're hopefully going to speak to members of our different communities, whether that's churches, schools, mosques, synagogues, charities, and that's how we're going to bring out the solutions. It's not something that I or anybody else is going to suggest from on high.
Families need to be stronger, need to know where their young people are, but equally there needs to be a sensitive response from the local state, from local councils and from the government. If there's an issue of resources, we need to look very carefully at that.
So while the politicians work out the details to their responses to the riots, it seems that across London, local communities such as this have already started their own inquiries. Aisha Baksh, BBC London News.
Well, I'm pleased to say that Dara Singh, the man who'll head up the inquiry, joins me in the studio now. Thanks for coming in, first of all. Can you explain to us how this is going to work? Are you going to go to people or expect them to come to you?
Well, I think a bit of both, actually. So what we will do as a panel, what we were announced today by the Deputy Prime Minister at 11 o'clock, what we will do is we'll design a process that involves both the panel and panel members going to visit communities such as Tottenham and in Hackney, but also a process for other people to get in touch with us, perhaps through a website and in other mechanisms as well.
Will you be speaking to the rioters, the looters, people in this sort of image that we've seen in the last couple of weeks?
Well, our remit is to understand, primarily from the perspective of victims, actually, what they thought happened, but also we will want to understand the motivations of the small minority of people who perpetrated such damage upon our community. So if it helps us, which I think it probably will, to talk to some of those people, offenders, then we will do.
If, as you say, it's predominantly victims, isn't that more looking at the effects of these troubles, not the causes of them?
It's both. Our remit charges with the task of understanding the causes of the riots, also understanding why in some areas there were riots and in others there weren't, how we collectively can work better with individuals and businesses in our communities, and what we can do in the future to try to prevent such incidents.
Well, that is the question, isn't it? How will you go about preventing this sort of thing in the future?
That is a really vital question for the panel to answer. And what we will do, as you've shown in your piece, actually I'm really encouraged that in local areas in Hackney and in Tottenham, as I heard today, there are now already panels set up to talk to community members to come up with ideas. So we really want to lock into that work as well.
This isn't, though, to be clear, a public inquiry. You don't have the power to actually call people in to give evidence. I mean, there might be people at home sitting here thinking, actually, this sounds like another talking shop. You can't really affect change.
Well, I disagree with that. It's an independent panel, and what's been made clear to me from the very highest levels of government is that we have got the freedom to actually make whatever recommendations we wish once we've engaged in a really thorough listening exercise, and we will do that. We will discharge our responsibilities really take them very seriously. I've got some excellent members of the panel, as you've just shown, so I think we will progress well on this.
OK, thank you very much indeed. We'll have to leave it there.
Thank you very much.